Good morning. My name is Hugo Chance. I'm CEO of Chance Capital, and welcome to the first of our Talk VC events in partnership with Fladgate and London School of Business and Finance. I'd like to welcome our panel guests today. We have Jamie Hamilton from Fladgate, Nick Newbury from Original Travel, and Andrew Green from Rockpool Investments. Before I hand over to them to introduce themselves, I'd like to just give you a little bit of background on Talk VC and what it is. So these events were born out of really the need for practical advice from business owners, from SMEs that require information and insight from those who are at the forefront of venture capital within the UK. There are many courses and indeed resources out there for SMEs to learn about the academic support or reasoning behind growth capital, but there's precious little, we believe, in terms of that practical advice and insight, the nuances perhaps behind raising capital from a private investor compared to an institutional investor. And that's very much the premise of these events. So we aim to give you commentary and discussion along with a number of other resources over the coming months. Today we're gathered just as a panel due to the unfortunate coronavirus situation, but nonetheless we hope this content will be valuable and insightful for you. We sit here in a somewhat difficult time with health issues with the coronavirus, etc., and we all hope that will be overcome in the short to mid-term. But also more specifically the turbulence, and to an extent because of that, but also because of oil prices in the public markets. Do you think that? I've seen just in the last few days it affecting some of the opportunities we're working on. But do you think that actually there could be an opportunity for venture deals, more specifically off the back of turbulence in public markets? Do you think that it's going to affect investor appetite on a across the board, or do you think it's a case of bunkering down and just holding out until investors appear again? Nick, difficult one, I know.
Yeah, very difficult. It's the catch the falling knife thing, isn't
crystal
it?
ball gazing, but
it's I would expect. I'm talking from our sector particularly, but I would expect things to be very quiet for the coming months, and really thinking now forwards to almost Q4 before things start to pick up again. Now, I would expect things to start picking up again when we're through this corona issue. That is the fundamental one that's out there at the moment. I'm not in for a second belittling oil and Brexit and markets and elections in the US, and all those things are clearly very important. But corona is dominating everything. Think about it from a venture point of view. Funds have got to invest. You guys aren't going to make your fees unless you invest your funds fundamentally and bluntly. So venture funds are, there's a lot of money out there, and it's going to be looking to be invested in businesses when the time is right. But I would imagine, and it's just my own view, I would imagine that's probably not until Q4 of this year.
I think at the moment everybody thinks, and probably rightly, that this is what we're going through is a short-term, what economists call an exogenous shock, not a fundamental collapse of the global economy. The banking and the financial services sector is in a far better position now than it was in 2008, where obviously it was the cause itself, was enormously over-leveraged, and we're sitting on a whole load of very, very dubious loans. I think central banks are better now, more activist. The governments are probably more activist than they were in the financial crisis. So, assuming that it is the famous spike and then tails off, then I think that's right, that you're going to see a quiet period and then things will come back. So optimistic.
Jamie.
Well, I think if we look at China, where the coronavirus originated, and which is a global hub of venture capital, that saw a massive drop in deals, something like 64% down early this year. And I mean, I've seen deals being postponed, deals that were at head stage being postponed while this gets over. Meetings are being cancelled all the time or are being moved online, which reduces networking opportunities, which reduces connections. So I think we are definitely going to see a short-term slowdown. On the other hand, I was quite struck by the surge in activity that we have seen since the UK election in December, which was seen as positive for the economy. And actually, for the last 3 months since then, we've seen a great surge in activity, which gives me confidence that when we can get through this, there is an underlying market there of bright founders and driven people and startups that are going places and investors willing to put the capital in, that is there and that will come good when conditions suit, when conditions permit.
May I ask you each to give, if you can, maybe a kernel of an idea or a soundbite, if you will, to any small business owners who are watching this, in terms of practical advice. And we've covered a whole range of topics today, and again, we sit in a tough time at the moment from a health perspective. But personally, I see, again, off your point, Jamie, there is huge opportunity, huge challenges as well. But nonetheless, it's all to play for. There is a rich investment need out there, and there are many investors. And indeed, London is still seen as a significant hub for investment in the UK. I think from my perspective, it's fail to prepare to fail. That messaging of what Nick touched on earlier was you must have all your documentation, and how you're going to pitch the process should be no different from one investor to the next. But it's making sure that you are living and breathing your business, and you have that confidence to deliver, and not going into meetings semi-prepared. Andrew, any final thoughts on?
You summed it up very well. No, I think that's absolutely right, and I think to mark yourself out from the ordinary, you have to have some vision of where you want to take it, and try to think beyond the next year. Come along and say, look, we're doing this at the moment. We can do that and that and that, and bring a palette of possible growth opportunities. Think long term. Think over this bump that we're going through.
Yeah, and I would say for those people out there who are starting now, there is actually a massive opportunity in now. Don't lose heart, because again, talking from my own experience, we started straight after 9/11 when oil was all over the place. Iraq 2 was in full swing, and it was something where you can, whilst everyone else is paddling like crazy, who's actually active in the markets, paddling like crazy to manage the crisis, you can make enormous ground up on the competition by getting your house in order and using this opportunity to research and say, okay, fine, we may need to delay our launch by 6 months. But this is a wonderful opportunity because we don't have the pressure now of trying to operate in this environment. So treat it as an opportunity, don't lose heart, and push on.
Thank you. Jamie?
I've been struck by what Nick's talks about with the networks of investors and entrepreneurs that you've been a part of, and I would say that there are a lot of these that operate at all the different stages. So my advice would be to take advantage of those. Go and meet people who are doing the same thing as you, who've been through the same thing as you. Take feedback from them, and work out where you want to go. But most importantly is don't take your eye off your own business and your own vision.
Fantastic. Well, look, I'd really like to thank you all for being here today and chatting over a whole range of topics. Andrew, Nick, Jamie, thank you so much. And also to Fladgate for kindly hosting us, and Executive Education, part of the London School of Business and Finance. We will be running additional Talk VC events over the coming months. So stay tuned. Thank you very much.